I got asked a pretty interesting question about being a field service engineer the other day. And that question is, what's the toughest part about being a field service engineer? In this video, I'm going to try to answer that question for you. Welcome back to Untitled Label, where we strive for greatness through optimization. I'm John, I'm a field service engineer as well as an entrepreneur, and on this channel we talk about all things relating to being a field service engineer. Although I've only been in this career for a relatively short amount of time, I think I can answer that question, or at least give you my perspective for this question. And simply put, that's going to be holding yourself accountable. Over time, you're going to start to get a little bit better and better at this job. Things are going to come a little bit easier to you. So it's always going to be imperative to strive for that next thing. That way you're maintaining the status quo and maintaining that level of professionalism as well as character development. That way you're always moving forward no matter where you're at career-wise. First thing is, in order to hold yourself accountable, you have to have measurable limits or goals that you have to meet every year or every term that hold you to that accountability. So establishing expectations that you have to meet each year or each term is going to be important for holding yourself accountable. First thing you're going to want to do when you're starting out as a field service engineer is know what goals that are set for yourself. Knowing these goals, you're going to be able to look at them, literally read them over, and work towards them every single day. Of course, starting out, you might not be able to meet those goals immediately. However, showing progress and constantly working towards these goals every day is going to show that you have effort, you have character, and you're actually progressing as a field service engineer. If you don't have a map of how to be successful, you're never going to get there. So know your expectations and work towards them every single day. The next thing I'll add to this is stay in your lane. Now, I don't mean this in a derogatory or mean way of saying this, but knowing that you're you and knowing what you're capable of is going to be important when it comes to doing this job. You're going to be in charge of yourself for the most part. Yes, you're going to have a manager, someone that you report to, but at the end of the day, you're gonna be responsible for the work that you're assigned, and it's important to focus on that thing. As you're working with team members, it can be hard to compare yourself to what they're doing or try to find what they're doing or help them out. Of course, that's gonna be important as this is all about learning and growing as a person. However, what you wanna focus on first when you're first starting out this career is improving yourself. Once you develop the skills that are necessary to be successful at this job, then you can start to try to find ways to help out those around you. That way, as a team, you're growing together. As you're working this job and you're meeting your peers, you're going to see that some people have a higher standard, whereas some people have a lower standard than you. Don't necessarily worry about what they're doing. Yes, you should try to help them bring them up if they're in a lower standard, or if someone has a higher standard, try to emulate what they're doing. However, for the most part, stay focused on what you're doing and be the best that you can be. If you're coming in every day, putting in 100% of the effort, then that's something that you should be proud of. This is what I mean by staying in your lane. So as someone that is well-driven, this can be a double-edged sword. You don't want to be that person that's doing all the work while everyone else is just kicking back and sitting back. This is going to kind of tie into the next thing that I'm going to talk about. If you feel like you're getting bored or you just, you're doing a lot, you're striving for that next thing, chill out, find a hobby that you enjoy and spend a little bit more time focusing on that thing. Preferably if it can make you a little bit of cash and dough, try to build that business, build that thing, and make it into something that can maybe one day help you retire early. As the job gets a little bit easier and easier for you, you're going to have more time on your hands. So this is going to be when you're going to want to have to reach out, find more hobbies, find more goals for yourself outside of work. This is going to be important because over time you're going to get more frustrated because things aren't necessarily going the way you want them to, even though you're putting in more effort. So take that effort and put it into something more productive that can probably help you in the long run. You have to keep in mind you're in a workforce, you're working for a company. If you are working for yourself, this is a little bit different because by all means, Go hard, drive hard, and accomplish those goals as soon as you can with quality, of course. But being an employee, there's only so much that you as a person can do or a company can do for you. So keep that in mind and work accordingly. Not saying that, you should just be a quiet quitter, just do the bare minimum. Make sure you stand out, do what you can, but don't over invest yourself into your work per se. While we're on the topic of investing, if you haven't subscribed yet to Untitled Label, this is a great library of information focused on being a field service engineer, building a brand, and positive motivational messages that are going to help you as a business professional succeed. So make sure you smash that subscribe button as well as that thumbs up to help the channel grow. Thank you so much. Oh, and if you're on Instagram and you happen to like cars and car photography, make sure to follow that name. Lastly, no one is going to be there to hold your hand. Part of being a grown-up, being an adult, and being a professional is being accountable and holding yourself to a higher standard and meeting those standards that are required of you. Being able to accomplish the work that you're assigned is going to help the team, help your company grow overall and be successful. After all, you're getting paid to do the work, so it's kind of unfair if you're not doing the work and you're still getting paid. Not saying that work should be your main priority in life, but you got to think about the big picture when it comes to this job. You're going to be one piece of the big puzzle, and you doing your part is going to help that puzzle come together and accomplish a bigger goal. As field service engineers, we're fortunate enough to have more independence than the average employee, I would say. However, holding yourself accountable is also equally as important because you're held to a little bit of a higher standard with all those responsibilities, all those privileges that come along with the job. If you're a current field service engineer, I'd like to know what you think about accountability when it comes to this job. If accountability is not an issue for you, what do you think is the hardest part of being a field service engineer? Let me know in the comments below. With that said, I'm John with Untitled Label, and I'll catch you on the next one.